Hello, this is Sam Simon, also known as Dementia Man, for my weekly blog for the week of December 7th. And I have a guest today, and you can see her. It's Linden Gross. And I wanted, this is the week that we've been promoting Dementia Man, the book. And I wanted to thank Linden and introduce her to my world, so to speak, those of you who are listen to or watch my blogs, and just let you know about her. And if you are perhaps an aspiring writer, or like me, was working on the other book, she's helped me with 3 books now. The first was The Actual Dance, Love's Ultimate Journey Through Breast Cancer. And she just read to me the letter I sent to her asking for help. So I've been working on this for a while, and I've hit a problem. I'm sort of can't figure out how to solve things. Can you help? And boom, here we are, 3 books later. And just so you know, I'm going back and picking up a copy of the book, and that big white thing, you can see it won an award, Independent Publishers Award. So say hello, Linden Gross from Bend, Oregon.
Hello. So nice to see you, Sam. I miss you now that we don't get to talk every week.
Well, yeah, who knows? I started to think about maybe I need a book of my poetry.
Well, you've been talking about that for a while.
But we're dealing now with the book Dementia Man, which is on sale everywhere books are sold. Go on to Amazon, get a copy. If you do it right away, I'm sorry, Lyndon, I have to do this ad. And download it. I don't know, for a little longer, it'll be 99 cents, and give it a great review at any rate. I wanted people to meet Linden. She's really special. And I suspect a lot of us out there are people who are going, have the book inside of us. I've heard that I've got this book inside of me, or I wish I could do that too. And I think Linden's job is to say, yes, you can. How did you get into book editing? Or book as a book coach? Where?
Oh,
I don't think I asked that. How did you
oh.
find that?
Well, I come from a writing background. My dad was a foreign correspondent and editor for Look magazine. So I sort of grew up in that whole arena. And my mom was a teacher. So in the end, I've sort of combined both careers. I started out wanting to be both a writer and a teacher, not very original. And ended up, when the teaching piece didn't work out, ended up on a magazine in New York. And I worked at the Ladies' Home Journal for 3 years and then missed the West Coast, moved back to LA and worked on the LA Times magazine for 3 years. And at that point, they wanted me to edit full time, and our agreement had been that I would write half time and edit half time. And so basically, much to my father's absolute horror, I quit the Times and went freelance and worked as a magazine freelancer for a number of years, which was an impossibly hard career choice that I would discourage anybody from making. And then my mom got sick. She had a cerebral hemorrhage, and I, within a blink, had moved from LA to San Francisco to help care for her, and really was looking for any kind of work. Had a friend who was an editor, one of my oldest friends, and I ended up. She needed somebody to work on to help ghostwrite a book that she had commissioned, and that the first writer did not work out. And I was sort of brought on to save that project. That book ended up becoming a national bestseller. That was The Legacy of Luna, basically about a young woman who moved into a tree and lived there for 2 years to keep it from being cut down. She
I
became,
remember
yeah,
that story. I don't know if I read the book, but
the book is actually, I love the book. She's very articulate. That was my first ghostwriting job. And the ironic thing is, of course, that in my career choices, the two things I was never going to do were to be a journalist and to ghostwrite, to the two things my father had done. And those, of course, are exactly the two things I ended up doing. And so, anyway, I ended up um, doing a fair amount of editing and ghostwriting in San Francisco while I was caring for mom. And along the line, a literary agent was working on a project, needed help with a book proposal. And a friend of a friend had sent an email chain. She ended up hiring me. I helped her with the proposal and then the book. And she mentioned me to one of her associates at the agency. And that person had a client who was not finishing her book. And so I started working with that person. And then that person was part of a writers group. So suddenly I started working with another person in the writers group, and I thought, I think I have a new arm to my career, and I think it's called being a writing coach. And this is so long ago, I'd never heard of a writing coach. It's just something that I fell into doing. And because I had been an editor, been a writer, and a teacher, it was, my philosophy is that sometimes the tributaries of the river join to have you do what you were meant to do in the first place. And I think for me, that's true. I absolutely love it.
So a silly note here because it triggered this thought in me. Writing coach, sure, writing coaches. People, that's something to be coach on. I said, there are people out there that call themselves life coaches.
Yeah.
Huh? Why would you want that? I want a writing coach. That's concrete. Uh, and it's been a pleasure. I want people to know, and um, a pleasure and a challenge, not to go through the process. What I love,
Sure.
um, so first of all, you've been doing it for a while, and
Yeah.
you're both
Yeah.
the
25 plus years now.
the technical side. Well, I would call the technical side. You know language, ways to tell stories, um, but you also know the human side of it, how to work with writers and deal with people like me who can be grumpy sometimes or insist he's always right, but then isn't.
You?
Um, but one of our fun things together um, is the first thing you told me to do, and I guess I told you what I was working on or about the actual dance, the book there, and uh, how to get started. And God, see, I'm going to forget. You told me to write you a
Floppy letter.
sloppy. You sound like you say lobby. Sloppy.
Sloppy.
It's got an S in the sloppy letter. And I think I did. I wrote you something, but somehow I've come to think of them as dirty letters.
You referred to them always as, you would say, I wrote you a dirty letter. It's like, great. Excellent.
And it is a great way to break writer's block in some way. To don't worry about it, Sam. Just put it down. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you think it
Do
makes
you
sense.
remember the rules for the sloppy letter?
Tell me the rules.
The rules are you can't worry about spelling, grammar, logic, continuity, or anything else. This is basically just a brain dump on paper. And the whole idea, there actually are two ideas behind it. The first idea is you just got to get something down and get out of your own way and get out of that sense of things needing to sound a certain way, needing to, get away from uh, that sense of who am I kidding? I'm not a writer. This sounds terrible. So that's sort of the main reason. But the other piece is that when you are writing without worrying about how it sounds, when you are writing just freely and doing this kind of a brain dump, what you tend to find is your author's voice along the way. Because instead of trying to criticize yourself or imitate somebody else, the real voice comes out. So
I,
you get a twofer, and you know me, I like a twofer.
and I think that is exactly right. I was trying to find a better word. And I'd written other stuff before, but they were more how-to books, which is interesting. Um, and in many ways, they're simpler. All right, I want to tell people um, how to save money on their phone bill. Well, I knew the area. I was at the time one of the few people. I'd been writing a newsletter about how to save money on your phone bill during the early era. By the way, people, there was one time when there was only one phone company.
And
Really?
it was expensive.
And then there was a new one called MCI, not mild cognitive impairment, but Microwave Communications Inc. And I actually got to spend time with Bill McGowan, the president of that. But I would, because he was wanted me to get this book out and helped a little bit. And you know, some writing a I'm sure. I'm sure it'd have been better if I knew known you then, but it was a how-to book, which I think is a little different um, than mine is not fiction. No, have you? I don't remember. Have you worked on fiction too?
Oh yeah. Yep.
And
Both.
mine is autobiographical in some ways, or um,
Very.
emotional stories as
Yep.
well. And um, let me ask you. I don't know if I've asked you. Is there a genre that I'm in? If I said
Memoir. You're
memoir, it's all
basically you fall
memoir.
into memoir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you
And
live in.
Sam, I think the thing that's interesting when people are writing uh, memoirs that involve their own lives, I think that it gets complicated for two reasons. One is writing a book is not easy and it's long and it's almost impossible not to lose perspective when you're in the middle of it. I don't care who you are. I know for me, every book I've been involved with, about two-thirds of the way through, I think, oh my gosh, is this any good or have I just written the biggest pile of you know what in the entire world? I can't tell anymore. So I think that happens to everybody just because the process is so long and the project is so big. But on top of it, if you are writing about yourself, your perspective is already a little compromised, right? So now you're doubly compromised because you've lost perspective about the book itself. You're potentially losing perspective about how you're presenting your story. And it helps to have somebody who doesn't know you, who isn't a friend or a family member, who's not coming in with a lot of knowledge already to look at to look and to provide that feedback, to ask the questions.
Jack, yes, and yeah, period, yes, because that is, particularly if you're writing your own story, the challenge. Because, like you said, you think you know the whole the real story, and you see it. I'm reminded. I'll give credit to not credit, but my brother-in-law, who is a retired two-star general, very prominent in the military. In fact, was involved in creating the Star Wars program. His wife, my sister, and he wanted to write his autobiography, and we finally got him someone to help him, but he's so tight in his own um, view of everything. You know, it's a nice book, but he wouldn't. He ended it all with, and that's what, and the rest is history, kind of thing. It's okay, but he couldn't break his way out of the that how he saw it, which is good. And then in my book, I give credit to him for an insight because I don't want to sound like I'm being critical, but and then by the way, because where I want to get to is everybody has a story.
Yeah,
Everybody has the potential of writing something that others may find helpful and or interesting.
sure.
Um, but um,
You have to want to do it.
you have
You
to
just,
want to do well, and he did,
yeah,
and his wife wanted him to do it too, so that helped.
that helps.
Uh, but he said, because he'd been in combat in Vietnam, he actually been, and anyway, he said sometimes refer to me as brave, but that's not what brave is. Brave is only if you're afraid to go out or afraid to do something
That's true.
and then do it anyway.
That's a good
I
point.
was never afraid, so I don't, you know, I think there's a difference between courage and bravery. And I think it takes courage to put yourself at the risk. Um,
And to open yourself up,
yeah, well, the same
because
one.
that's what you have to do if you're writing about yourself.
That great transition back to, yes, actually, that's true. And there are other pieces of it. We do readings for others, and people read it and get their feedback, and
Hmm.
um, that's always uh, very useful. And also, people should know I had a coach for writing my plays, somebody who had been written in, the arc of a book and a play are going to be a little different in many ways. One's quicker, so to speak, and more, and has a visual attached to it. And when
The
I
other, you have to create the visual with your words.
Right. On
Yeah.
stage I frown. On the page I have to say I frown. Or give the
Yeah,
reason or the describe the circumstances that is a frown. It's really, really neat. You live in Bend, Oregon, right?
I do.
Yeah. I've been trying to get up there to Bend and do my show up there. I've been to Bend once. It's sort of a interesting place. We were at the country club for some event. It's the only time my wife and I tried to play golf. I think it's called Five and Out, as we went to the course there. Uh, so, how do people reach you?
Well, I have a website. You can get there either by my name, lindengross.com, or onestopwritingshop.com.
I'm going to share it real quick.
Fabulous.
There it is.
And oh, there it is.
So you can edit, you can help write it, you can actually write things.
Again.
Uh, Writing coach.
And I have to say, I like the writing coach piece the best. I think that's the most fun. And almost always there's an editing component that ends up being part of that for a little bit. But at a certain point, you need somebody with fresh eyes to come in and look at the project because I get pretty close with the project as well.
Yeah, no, we do that. No, and by the way, I wrote my books, by the way, people.
Yes, you did. I can absolutely attest to that.
Well, that's good. Like, I, I really want to thank her. Thank you, Linda, say her to target the audience. Um, and particularly those of us I'm 80 now. I guess we started when I was 74, no, 75, about 5 years ago now, maybe 6 years
A
ago.
little bit longer than
Yeah.
that.
But the stories within us, maybe that's the good way to wrap this up a little bit. We all have stories within us. I know there are different people, different products out there. There's this product of where people write something specifically for your kids or grandkids, and you
Right.
send them information and pictures. But I think a lot of us have been through life and gone through things, and things that not just our kids, but insights or knowledge that might be helpful to others in the world. And
Absolutely.
are worth.
That's a big piece. I think another big piece for for many people who are still building their businesses. I work with a number of actually financial planners. And it's fascinating how different we use their personal stories to dovetail, often that have nothing to do with finance, usually, that dovetail with their advice. And the books end up being fun to read. You really get a sense of the person, and they're becoming great marketing tools for them. So that's fun. And then there's the fiction piece for people who want to write fiction. I think of Frank, I think Sam, I've told you about. I have a client named Barbara who was an attorney like you. Just started. I sort of fell into helping her with her first novel. We've now worked on 30 novels together. She quit being an attorney. She cranks out probably 4 novels a year. It's unbelievable.
That's
And it's so
amazing.
much fun. So,
So, I mean, that's we're doing this a little bit for those who may be listening to this. That it's
Yeah,
I love working with Linden and highly recommend her, but it's also about being encouraged to do it
yeah.
in that sturdy letter. I'm okay, sloppy letter. You know, if you think it's particularly for those people, in some ways, it's for the person who says, I can't do this, or it's too hard, or when you just start doing it, sit writing, just put it down and send it, and then you get questions back, um, and what about this, and thought about that, and what else happened here. It gets you thinking, and it really, really is a journey to write. Um, and
Suddenly a book starts to take shape.
exactly.
Yeah,
And um, yeah, I got an award for the actual dance.
I
Uh,
love that.
I don't know that I got an award. We're not bestsellers, although, I mean, both books on Amazon were bestsellers in their category for a while.
Mhm.
Dementia Man's been the number one new release in both dementia and gerontology for about a week or two on Amazon. That's people are buying it. That's
Which
good.
is amazing. Great.
I'm not going to get rich. Let me tell
Yeah.
you, I don't know, it's sort of a warning, and then you can beat me up here.
No, I'm right there with you.
But if you're doing it to get rich, uh, but if you're doing
Let's
it,
hope you're rich already.
yeah, because it could be, it takes time and some money to make this happen.
Yeah.
But these are the feedback sometimes is worth more than Um, it's almost like doing the play for me. I often have people come up afterwards to play, or even they'll do it. That dementia man. It was, I've always wondered what was going through my aunt or my husband's mind as he went through the disease.
Yeah.
I think I know a little bit now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
You help people.
and I'm not the only one. You're people think you have people. Every story is unique and every insight is unique. It's
Yeah.
potentially unique or helpful or be heard and read and applied in a different way. So I want to encouraging people to write their stories and for the public and yes, also for your own family and
Yes.
community or maybe for your if you're a attorney want to have stories for attorney about how I handle the worst client in the world, uh, dealing with ethical dilemmas. Um, okay, I shouldn't do this, but I'm now remind us. So I also like to do poetry. I don't think we worked on my poetry. It's poetry, you're aware of it. But I just found, we're downsizing, and I just found a poem that was written by my colleagues when I was in the Army. I was in the Judge Advocate General's office, and for a period of time, I was in the office of the chief trial attorney of the Army. Our job was to defend the Army against government contract claims. And somebody wrote, I don't think you can see it, but it's one, two, three, four. It's a full page, handwritten, and it's called Settling Sam. And apparently, I got the reputation of being too willing to settle the claims just to end them. Um, and I'll just read this. So the claim came in. It was for 1.5 million. The field screwed up. We'd be eaten alive. The boss's eyes rolled. We're in a bad jam. Then he yelled, "This one it goes to you, Settling Sam." Anyway, I love it. But all of us who have been through different careers, different times, different experiences, have good stories to share. And thank you, London, for being the one that's really made it possible for getting these two very personal books. And then there's this other book called Choosing the Public Interest. And it was my essay that you helped with and some of the others as well. So that was really great. And it was great to see you today.
You too.
She doesn't like to coach on Zoom. She wants to be on the phone.
Well, usually we're both looking at manuscripts, so why would we bother?
Well, because never mind. So thank you, and again,
Well, I'm so thrilled for you, Sam.
well, I'm,
It's been an honor to be part of your projects.
and thank you so much. And let's see, one more quick time. I'm going to share this for all the readers. And let's see, how do we get in touch with Linden? I was thinking,
So my
oh,
email
look
is,
on your website.
see, there you
Wow.
go. There you are.
Woo.
I blog about you a lot.
And I'm trying to see where's the link
Oh,
thing?
the contact?
Here it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, there's a number or there's an email.
Yeah, that 866 number may not work anymore. I got news about that recently. But the
Okay.
email linden@lindengross.com or lindengross@gmail, those work
Yeah,
great.
all right. So that's all good news. So thank you, everyone. And hey,
Thank you, Sam.
go to your bookstore or go online,
Absolutely.
get Dementia Man, An Existential Journey, and then put a big positive rating or review wherever you do your reviews.
It's they mean more than you will ever know. That's the greatest thing you could do for Sam, for
There we
sure.
go. Again, thank you.